In this video, I beat Minecraft hardcore mode with no weapons. I've been working on this video for a while now, so I hope you enjoy it. It's probably my most high effort video so far. Also, if you end up enjoying the video, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always unsubscribe if you want to later. It also helps me out a lot, and I appreciate it. Enjoy the video. I'm a Minecraft YouTuber. I normally do Bed Wars videos, so I was thinking, what Bed Wars video should I do next? And then I thought to myself about the countless videos of people winning Bed Wars games with no weapons. I was like, what if I did that? But then I was like, I mean, so many people have done it at this point. Like, I want to do something original. I want to do something new. So I think to myself, what about hardcore? Hardcore, you only get one life. It's pretty impressive if you make it to the end at all. So then I put these two ideas together, and I got hardcore, but with no weapons. Now, right off the bat, I was like, alright, there's no way I'm gonna do that. But I try anyway. I fail a couple times, and my motivation has just left me. And then I get one run that makes me keep going. I made it all the way to the end with no weapons, and ended up killing myself, but that's besides the point. Basically, I knew all I needed to do was punch the dragon to death. So, I continued my quest. It wasn't going to be easy, but I knew the payoff would be so much more than the challenge. Even if this video doesn't get much views, it's still a huge flex to say I beat Minecraft hardcore with no weapons. So I did it. I start out in a plains biome. I immediately see a shipwreck and a snow biome. But I decide against going there because what's more important for the start is a village and getting materials. So I traveled for quite some time, and then for some reason I just couldn't find a village and ended up running out of sprint. And at this point I was thinking, I should probably just press escape and disconnect. But I was like, alright, there's still hope. There's still hope. So I see a pyramid in the distance, and I go to it. And then absolute garbage was in it. I'm so confused as to how that pyramid had nothing in it. It was terrible. But it did have a golden apple, so I did use that to gain my sprint back to find a village. And I actually did end up finding one. So I took the beds, I killed the golems, got some hay bales, and now I was ready to go mining. I ended up finding a cave, but it was infested with creepers, so I'd rather just go find a different cave. It was insane. I've literally never seen that many creepers in one spot. It was actually just disgusting. That is death. That is straight death. Oh my Jesus Christ. There are so many of them. Then I ended up finding an exposed spawner of some sort, and it didn't really have anything of use in it, so that was pretty useless. After doing some mining, I eventually got enough iron to make some armor, and thus I would prepare to go to the nether. So I entered the nether and type in my coordinates in chat, because I don't exactly know how to do the whole quadrant thing that speedrunners do to find nether fortresses and stuff, but I think I know how, and I actually did end up finding the fortress. It did take a while, but eventually I found it. So I'd found the fortress, but the next part would be one of the hardest parts of the entire challenge. I had to get blaze rods. You might think that's impossible to do in this challenge, but basically my strategy throughout all my attempts has been to dig under the spawner in an enclosed blaze spawner and then just hit them when they can't hit me. Right? Now that's a good idea, right? But one problem, there was no enclosed spawner. I had to go on a whole scavenging to find an enclosed spawner, and then I didn't find one. There was just a not enclosed spawner, so what I had to do was make a netherrack like ceiling, and then make it enclosed, like man-made enclosed spawner. Like that's what I had to do. And then after that, I started killing them with my fists. I eventually, after almost dying multiple times, I eventually got all the blaze rods I needed and left the fortress with 7 of them. I was finally making some good progress. Now all I had to do is get the pearls. This would have given me a lot of problems in my past attempts, but this time I had a new tactic. Could you not? Sir. Hey. I'm making a YouTube oh no, he's in full diamond. No. So basically my tactic to get pearls this time would be to use a boat, capture an Enderman, and then just punch it with my fists. So I'd use this tactic and spend a solid, I think, 30 minutes to get all the pearls I needed. I was getting pretty unlucky with the drops, but it didn't really matter since this tactic didn't really harm me in any way, except that one time where it actually did. Ow, ow, ow. What just hit me? How did it hit me? Chill. Oh my god. Yeah, so Endermen do a lot more damage in hard mode than they do in any other mode, as you can see. So I planned on getting a pumpkin head to use in the end, so that I don't have to worry about any Endermen attacking me. Then there was this Enderman that ended up almost killing me. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, no, not like this, not like this, not like that, not like that. Oh my god, okay, he's on the other side now. If I hadn't gone to the portal and decided to fight it with my loaf of bread, I would have probably died here. But luckily, sometimes I have those moments where I'm like under pressure and I just don't think straight. But this time I actually thought, and so I went into the portal, back home, it went there. Well, I didn't go through the portal, I went into the portal, and then it went to the overworld. And then we ended up seeing him later, but he didn't cause much trouble, just a bit of stress. And so I had finally collected 13 ender pearls. Now, I could have just gotten 12, but I kind of wanted a pearl for the end, so that if the dragon ended up, like, yeeting me into the void, I could at least pearl, and my intro, and my video has been ruined. So I ended up going back to the overworld, ran into little old Enderman from earlier again, and I did some mining for some iron because I needed my pickaxe and my shield, and things were breaking left and right. So then I decided to go back to that snow biome. This is what I was talking about earlier. Basically, the snow biome would be very useful, not because of the shipwreck, that's like the least important part of it. In fact, I didn't even take anything from it, it was pretty useless. But basically, the important part was the fact that it had snow. Snowballs is what I would use, because I can't use a bow to get the end crystals. I can't use a weapon to get end crystals. So instead use snowballs as my projectile in order to get the end crystals down. Now all I needed to do was find the stronghold. I threw some eyes. I'm pretty sure none of them broke. I'm 99% sure none of them ended up breaking. Hold on. Is that it? I found it. There it is. And I actually ended up finding the portal pretty quick, but the obstacles in the way were some glitchy chests and a bunch of mobs. What? What is this? What is that? What am I looking at? Okay. I can't even... Oh! What? I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but... it's cool. Oh my god. Yo. No. Nope. 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 No thanks. I also ended up using 2 diamonds that I got from one of the glitchy chests, and 4 of my 6 obsidian that I had gotten earlier to make an enchantment table. And then I realized I need a book for an enchantment table, so I went all the way to the library. I had to find the library. It wasn't actually that hard to find, and so I went there, I got books, and then I made an enchantment table. And you're probably wondering what enchants I got. None. I completely forgot that you need bookshelves in order to make an enchantment table work, and I also didn't even have lapis, so that was entirely useless. I just wasted 2 diamonds on that. I mean, I can't make a sword anyway, because that's defeating the point of the challenge, but still. Da-da-da. Okay, I don't have bookshelves. Can I even use it? I don't have lapis either. Alright, no. I completely forgot how Minecraft works. So then I place the eyes. I have 2 pearls that I can use in case the dragon throws me off a cliff. And I also have a water bucket, a boat, and some hay bales in order to avoid fall damage and death in general. I also had 2 golden apples, one of them which I used and the other one I didn't use. I also ended up only using 1 out of the 2 pearls. I didn't even need to use it. I was just using it in panic because I thought it did throw me off into the void, and then it ended up just throwing me onto the ground. So if anything, that pearl just did more damage to me than it needed to. But whatever, I was panicking, okay? It was stressful. I also had 7 beds, which I could have used to damage the dragon, but I was extremely scared that I would blow myself up, because that's what I did in a different attempt. Not with a bed, but with a end crystal. I don't know why. I kind of just punched it and died. I wasn't behind a block. I kind of... Look, man, it's... The end fights in hardcore are always stressful. I don't think straight. So here I was. I have 7 beds, but I really didn't want to use them. But I placed my obsidian anyway. I use 1. It does barely any damage to the dragon. It does a lot less than I expected it to do. So I ended up just whacking the dragon with my loaf of bread until it died. And yeah, that was the story of how I beat hardcore with no weapons. Also, I mentioned this in the uncut recording, but I counted pickaxes as weapons because they have the little thing that says attack damage. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a cheap way. Imagine like beating the game with no weapons, and then you actually just use a pickaxe. Look, man, I basically just used bread for everything. Sometimes my fists, and yeah, it was pretty cool. Not something I want to do ever again. That was very stressful. If you want to see the uncut video of me doing this and the whole thing, I mean, you could just skip around to the end fight. You could watch me beat the blazes, because that was pretty interesting. I'd say those are the most interesting parts. Most suspenseful, at least. But if you want to go check that out, the video is unlisted, and it is in a link down in the description below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you next time.